Hello, so for today's video we're going to be doing a simple eye look for beginners. So we're really going to slow the process down so you can see how I'm blending, what I'm doing, etc. and things like this. Yeah, hopefully this is helpful. I'm not personally that good with eyeshadow myself, but I'm going to give it a whirl today. So the first thing that we're going to do is prime the eyelids. So you can use concealer or you can use eyeshadow base, or if you personally don't want to use anything, then that's up to you. But the eyeshadows tend to blend better when there's something laid flat down. So the eyeshadow base that I'm using today is the Essence Eye Heart Colour Intensifying base. I also really love the Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in Anti-Aging, but we're using this one today. So obviously you can take a brush, but I'll just take my finger and just pat that out. So obviously you can personally set it if you want to, but I prefer to not set the eyeshadow base. I just feel like it works better for me. But obviously if the eyeshadow palette, like the palette we're using today, so this is Makeup Revolution, this is the Reloaded Neutrals 2. If it has a colour in it that's something quite neutral, like this shade, then I'd go ahead and set it. But otherwise, I'm really not that fussed by it, because I'm not going to personally just dig out a powder to set my eyelids when I feel like I don't need to. But obviously, some palettes I find that I will need to set the eyelid, especially the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill, like the Vault collection. I feel like I have to set my eyelids with that palette. So obviously it depends on the palette, it depends on the person as well. But personally, I just don't like to do it. So the next step, I always like to do brow bone highlight. So you can either use something like this. So this is Benefit Highbrow. So it's just like a creamy pencil, and you can put that under the brow and just pat it out. Really quick, really easy. Or you can obviously go in with highlight as well. But what I like to do is with a brow pencil, I do like to pull the eyebrow just so I can really see my arch, and I'll keep it right in this region. I won't really take it any further than that, or any closer to the front or any further out of the brow. Then I will take this little spectrum. So this is a A12, and it's quite a, I wouldn't say it's firm, but it's got a little bit of firmness to it. So it's easy to sort of blend out these sort of things, but not have harsh texture like a pencil brush would. So like I said, I just pull the brow and then I just buff out the colour. Obviously you can use your fingers to do this. I just feel like it's better with the brush, just looks more neater, more blended. So we're just doing back and forwards for that. If you do want to go in with a highlighter, so today I'm using the Makeup Revolution Rose Gold highlighter. So this is the Inglot highlighter, just in rose gold. So I'll take a little bit literally on the same brush and do exactly the same thing. You might want to take less product, especially if the highlighter is quite bright. So then it just looks like so. So it gives the brow a little bit of an arch. And I prefer doing this before I place down crease and that, because I feel like when I go in after, once everything's done, I feel like because of my eye shape, because obviously I have hooded lids, I feel like the highlighter is covering part of the crease colours and things like that, which I don't like. I like it to look like it's sort of blended, like it's there. You know, like it's not like, oh, she's just whacked on highlighter on a brow bone, or oh, her eyebrows actually glowing from natural looking. You know, and when I'm blend, I'm not holding the brush up here, because I feel like you're being too harsh with the product. So if you want to lightly blend, you want to have sort of less grip, so you hold it further down, so you've got more control over how you're moving the brush. So it's more like this, rather than you being like this and really tugging at the eye when you don't need to. So now we're going to move on to crease colours. So typically what you like to use is something on the lighter side, because obviously we just want a little bit of definition in there to make it look like we've actually got a crease, especially with hooded lids, and we want something that's not so choppy as well, so you're not just going, oh, here's like one shade and here's a bit of glitter. Like you sort of want to transition so the eyeshadow looks smooth and blended. So obviously typically out of these light colours, I'm looking at this one down here at the bottom, which is really gorgeous, like nude shade. So I'm going to take that on a Spectrum B06. So this is a nice fluffy brush, not dense at all. Sometimes people prefer a bigger brush. Well, not as extra as this, because this is like a highlighting brush, but sometimes people would use something that looks very similar to this, but I prefer something just a little bit smaller, just because I have more control over it then. So obviously what you do, or what I do, I dip into the product. Don't want a lot on there. So then tap off the excess, and then you want to put it, when you're looking in the mirror as well, I feel like it helps if the mirror's tilted, so you're like looking in it rather than looking at it. So I do keep your eyes open, and you want to look down. I'm looking like up in the mirror, so obviously the mirror slanted, and obviously I want to take it in this part of the crease. So I like to do these little buffing motions, so we're going in little circles. So if you want to extend it out, you can, if you want sort of a more blown out look, but this is just very sort of neutral, very basic. Yeah, again, I'm holding the makeup brush at more or less, not more or less at the end, well, it is more or less the end, but I still got a nice grip on it, so we're just going in circles. And also this can take a while, like don't get frustrated, because when you're watching videos and they're 8 minutes long, trust me, we're not taking 8 minutes to do it. Like I take at least 30 minutes to do eyeshadow, and that's just the top of my eyelid. That's not including like the lower lash line and everything. So don't like think, oh no, I must do eyeshadow in 8 minutes. Like no, it's not everyone does that. So once we have that colour down, I do like to blend it out just a little bit further. So I usually take this crown brush. So this is a Duo Fibre blending brush. So it is literally very thin at the top, and it's sort of more packly dense at the bottom. So this is what I typically like to blend, because it's got less harshness to it. So I just do exactly the same thing. This is just me being a little bit extra, like, because you really want to make sure that the colour's blended. So just go ahead and do exactly the same thing with the buffing motions, like little circles. So now we have a nice transition going on, and you can see from the highlighter, like if I put highlighter on now, I feel like it'd cover my crease work that I just done, and I feel like it just ruins the look. So I always go in with brow bone highlight first. I feel like now this part you can be a bit more wild with colour. So now you have a transition down, you can sort of go in with very vibrant colours. So if you wanted to go in with a deeper dark purple, you really could go for it, and it'll look fine because you have that transition down. So you can really sort of deepen the crease to give it a little bit more definition. So for instance, I'm going to take this colour down here. So I'm going to take that on a Spectrum A07, and this is quite a chubby brush, because what I like about this is that you can really get into the crease, like it proper, like, how can I explain this? Rather than sitting like on the crease like this is, I feel like you can just get it in there, so it gives it a lot more definition. Or another brush I really like is this one. So this is a Crownbrush C528. So this is itty bitty bitty. So you can really sort of get right in there to the crease as well. And it has this nice little tapered edge. So yeah, I'm going to take that shade on the Spectrum 807. So I just dip this in, tap off the excess. If you want, you can tap off a little bit on the back of the hand, because you can always add colour, but you can't ever take it away. So if you add too much and you don't like it, then we have a problem. But obviously if you add a little bit, you can add more. So what I like to do, I do like to hold this brush a little bit closer rather than up here, because I like a lot more control with this brush. So I like to just do wiper motions with this rather than little circles. So we just go ahead and put that in the crease. My eyes are still open, but they're like slightly open, because obviously I want to see what I'm doing. But you can always look up and check, because obviously your eyes are open majority of the time, and obviously you want to be able to see it when you're looking with your eyes open, because you don't walk around like this. And like, change your angle of your head. Don't look at one angle. Like if you want to tilt your head to the side, you're like, okay, that looks fine from that angle. This angle, this angle. Change the angles, because obviously you want it to look good from every angle. So if you feel like, oh, I need more colour here, then you can go ahead and add that from this angle. But obviously at here, I can't see that I need that there. And then what I like to do is I like to take that Crownbrush Duo Fibre blending brush again, and just do exactly the same thing with the buffing motions. Like now I feel that that's blended out, I can go ahead and add a little bit more colour, because I want it to be a little bit darker. So looking at the eye, obviously we've got quite a bit of product coming down, but obviously you can go ahead and clean it up with concealer if you really wanted to, but obviously we're packing on colour and things like that. Obviously because of my eye shape, it's going to do that. But yeah, it doesn't bother me, because I can just add colour on top anyway, so it's not a problem to me. So for the outer corner, I like to take this brush. Now this is from a brand called Coveted, and I don't think they exist anymore. I bought this not even that long ago, I don't think. So yeah, but it's just a bog standard dense brush. You can probably buy these absolutely anywhere. But I also like to use this one, the little crown brush one that we talked about, for the corner as well, just because I feel like it's got such precision. But for today, I'm going to take a bit of these two here. So I'm going to mix those on this brush. Take just literally dabbing in like so. Tapping off the excess. And then what I like to do with this brush is I like to almost like stamp it on the eye, so we're getting the most amount of pigment out of it. So I'll just go ahead and push that on the eye. My eye is still slightly open, but I do like to close it a teensy bit more. Take it up to the crease a little bit as well, because we want it to all really blend together. Just stop, have a look, see how you like it, where you need to put it. So obviously I need to go out into this part a little bit more, into the outer corner. And I just sort of like to brush it over a little bit. So taking it more or less down into the centre part. Go ahead and add more colour to brush if you need to. Then I like to take the crown brush again. This will basically be your best friend. So every time you pack down a shade, you'll always want to blend. So you don't want to like just put a colour down, put another colour down, and put another colour down, because then it's just going to look like a horrible mess. So you pack the colour down, guaranteed you want to blend. So I just like to sort of take this out a little bit, so that it's a little bit more smoked out. Then I'll just take it through. Just sort of just basically just sort of blend in everywhere I want to. So the outer corner, around in the crease, and then like this inner part here. And obviously if you want to feel like it, you want to add a bit more colour, go ahead and do so. So I just want to show you how I'd use this brush on this eye. So we're taking the same colours again, just dabbling it in. And with this brush, because it's a little bit more smaller and it's not so densely packed like the other one, I tend to like to do little backward and forward motions with this. Rather than if I feel like I stamp, I'm not getting what I want it to do. So I always like to do little backwards forwards motions with this brush. I do really like this brush because you can get right to the lower lash line, get right into the corner, you can get up into the crease. Really good little brush. So obviously we're just going to go ahead and do what we've done before with the blending, because we've packed colour down, we want to blend. So my favourite part is adding the shimmers. Obviously you can add matte on top of this if you really wanted to, so you could go ahead, take something like this, pack it on the lid and blend. So obviously it's the same technique that I'm going to show you after, so there's not much difference between shimmer and matte and how you place it down. So I'm going to take this a lovely pink shade at the bottom, so I'm going to take this on a Spectrum A16. So this is a really nice flat brush. Now personally for me, I like to go ahead and pack it on with a brush just so I can get right into the corners, I can get up here, I can get over here, because when I take my finger it's a hot mess. I could get it all in here, I get it over here, but I usually will go in with my finger after just to really like intensify the colour. So yeah, we're going to do that first on the Spectrum brush. Obviously you can go ahead and spray the brush wet, but I personally, like dip the product, then spray the brush. Don't ever spray the brush and then dip the product in, because you're just wetting a whole palette. Like you really wet the brush and it goes like this really weird consistency, almost like it's like wet but dry, and it just goes completely wrong. So don't ever do that. Always dip it in and then wet it. So yeah, we're going to pack that on the lid. So literally I just like to tap, 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 tap. Really packing the colour on. So we're doing little packing motions. So I just like to look every now and then, because obviously my eyelid is pretty much shut with this part. The only eye open is this one and it's very blurry, so you might be able to see alright, but personally for me it's just a big old blurry mess. And sometimes if you really want to sort of get in there, you can obviously do little swiping motions as well. That helps. I forgot to mention as well, basically where you left that gap space is where you want to pack on the shimmer. Obviously this high had a lot more space in this one, because obviously this one's got a little bit of extra creasing. A little bit of extra creasing, a little bit of extra like crease. So if you feel like, basically I sort of line it up with the centre of my pupil, so I know to like get it in the right place. Obviously you want enough shimmer, or you want enough of that matte colour to come through, but you don't want to cover up all of this work that you've just done. So don't like go ahead and be like, oh, I want shimmer out to here, unless you personally do, then that's up to you. But obviously I like to keep it sort of like in this middle part, so I've still got all of this. And I will go ahead, like I said, and just take my finger. See what I mean? I get like the colour here, especially on this eye. And that's why I always do eyes first as well. I never put foundation on. Unless I'm doing like the most basic look, then I might go ahead and do that. So now that we've got that on, obviously it just looks like we've packed on a bit of shadow and there's nothing blended between this transition and then this transition out here. So you can take the itty bitty crown brush, or you can take the other blending brush, or you can also take your finger as well. Depends on your preference. Obviously I do like to take my finger and just sort of like, you just pat the colour so it's almost blended. So you can see that it's already starting to blend out. Obviously this may take a bit of time, so obviously you can just go ahead and go in with the brush. So I'm going to take the crown brush that we use, and I basically just do these little back and forth motions on the colour. Obviously you want to go ahead and add more colour, then you can go ahead and do so. So basically this is the eye that's blended, and then this is the eye that's not blended. So that's basically the top eye complete. So I'm just going to whack on the rest of my face, and then we can come back and finish the lower lash line. Okay, so now the rest of the face is on. Obviously my lashes are a little bit long, they need cutting, but they're on. I'm not taking them off. But for the lower lash line, depends on your sort of preference. If you want a really dark eye, like lower lash line even, not a dark eye, then I would take something like a pencil brush. So this is the Crownbrush C431. So you can really like get the colour on, and it'll be really intense. So say like you really want a smoke tap blue lower lash line, then this would be the perfect brush. Or if not, I'll take the Spectrum A12 like I did for the brow bone. This is obviously just a different handle. You don't have to buy two of these brushes. I just have two of them to really sort of soften the look. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and this shade. No, actually, I'm going to take a little bit of this shade that we used for the crease. Obviously, you can take whatever colour for the lower lash line, because it doesn't really matter, to be honest. You could go purple under here if you really wanted to. It's all whatever you want to do. It's makeup, it's fun. So I just like to do sweeping motions with this. The pencil brush can be quite harsh, but what I like about this is that it sort of matches that shape of a pencil brush. But obviously this is a lot more dense and a lot more rougher, whereas this is a lot more lighter. So I like to take it out just a little bit as well. Do that. And then what I like to do is I like to take the Spectrum brush, so this is the B06 that we used, and I'll tip in back into the transition shade that we used, tap off the excess, and I'll just sort of run that along as well, just to really sort of buff out that colour. So for the inner corner highlight, I will just go ahead and take the Spectrum A12 that we used for the brow bone. Take the same highlighter that we used. Obviously you can use a different highlight if you really wanted to, because you're just that extra. But what I do for inner corner, rather than taking it right on the inner corner, I almost push it to like this part of my eye, just so it doesn't fade as quick and it's not getting in my eye. So I typically take it like this on the eye, and I feel like it just opens the eye up a lot more. So I do the same for the other side, especially because where this has got the fold in it, I can't typically highlight this the way I want to highlight this. So that's why I like to take it a little bit more or less on the side of the nose, I guess. So I literally just will pack it on and then puff it out a little bit. Then obviously just finish up with mascara and lashes, depending on your preference. Everything I'm wearing will be listed down below, along with the brushes, so everything that's on my face as well, in case you wanted to know. But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it was a little bit helpful. I'm not best at explaining things, but I'm trying my best here. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Bye! I don't know why I'm still holding on to the mascara for.